Well, that's our crop of this year's baby deer. We ended up with 6 baby deer, and I think we're right down the middle, 3 and 3. So Ruby and I are on our way to go pick up some supplies to finish the electrical in the wood shop, and I saved back a package of jerky for the original owner that I purchased the fallow deer from now over 3 years ago. I was actually on my way up to Cheyenne and Christian's house 3 years ago when I saw that he had these deer back behind his house, and I stopped and talked to him, and I basically bought them before I left. And he had never tasted fallow deer, and so I saved a package of jerky for him, and I'm gonna give that to him real quick, and then Ruby and I are gonna go get the supplies that we need, right, Ruby? Well, this is the top of my transfer case in the Bumpside diesel, and when the truck is under load, that transfer case rubs the bottom of the cab. The fastest way to deal with the transfer case rubbing the bottom of the cab is to create about a ½ inch gap between the transfer case and the bottom of the cab by modifying the cross member. So by modifying the cross member and taking a ½ inch out of the mounting position on the cross member, it should give me the gap that I need. So using nothing more than my 110 buzz box on a bright sunshiny day, I welded the cross member back together. This is something that I probably should have caught when I was fabricating everything, but the gap was close enough and the transmission mount was loose enough that I didn't see it. I will replace the old transmission mount with a new transmission mount as well during this process. Okay, I ended up lowering that enough to where I threw a few washers in there just to kind of bring it back up a tiny bit. I ended up coming in closer to 3/4 of an inch. And so I shimmed it just a tiny bit. But now the real test is I want to drive it and see if there is any vibration. Clearly there's plenty of room between the transfer case and the bottom of the cab, so I don't have to worry about that now. But I do want to drive it and see if it feels any different. So I just got an email that said Cedar's new tires for her Wrangler just showed up down at the bottom, so I'm going to grab the dogs and run down there and pick up those tires and see how the truck drives. So we don't normally let our dogs ride in the back of the truck, but on the 3-mile ride down to where our packages typically get dropped off, I let the dogs enjoy it for the short ride. Cedar's had her Jeep now for around 3 years, and this is the 3rd set of tires that we've put on the Jeep. These are slightly less aggressive than the last tires and hopefully not as noisy. So this is the very top of the trail that needs to connect the new mountainside trail to our old property line. This is exactly where the new fence line is going to go, and I need to do a little bit of dirt work before I can start setting posts. I'd like to think that clearing the land and thinning the trees has been the hardest part of this job, but I'm not sure if that's going to compare to setting fence posts up the side of the mountain. But either way, we're just about ready to get started. So it turns out if you change the fuel filters on your equipment will run better. Who'd have thunk? The excavator, since changing the filters, runs amazing. Well, I said it in the very beginning, I wasn't quite sure how this was going to turn out when I finally got it finished, but I can tell you that it's exactly like I hoped it would be. It connects both sides of our property, and it does it in a way where it's easily accessible on a two-wheel drive four-wheeler. If you've been watching since the early days, then this is the very first trail I put up the side of our mountain, and it's basically, I thinned the trees along our property line all the way up as far as I could get with the New Holland excavator that I had back then. And I didn't have anywhere near as many hours in that machine as I do now in an excavator. And so I got to a little ridge and I couldn't get over that ridge. I didn't feel safe trying to get over that ridge. So I basically stopped up there on that ridge, and then I used this trail to get up to where I built that cabin. And the truth is, from basically the very bottom all the way up, it's like 28 to 30 degrees. And so it's just steep, and it's never ever been safe. And now with what I did this morning, I just brought from over there on the other side, where the new mountainside trail comes around the corner, I just brought it over to the top. So the fence, this is the very top of the new deer pen. Then I'm gonna have a fence going all the way down. Then there's gonna be another fence that runs down the side of all of that trail that I've been working on for the last couple of months. So I'm going to spend another couple of hours widening this trail out. I'm gonna try and consolidate some of the brush. I'm gonna clean it up a little bit, and then the very last thing I'm gonna do, which I haven't done in years, is I'm gonna run this, actually I've never done it with this excavator, but I'm gonna run the excavator down this old trail and just knock the brush down so I can see where I'm gonna put this fence. This was basically the last piece of the puzzle. Now that I've got this all cut in, I'm just gonna clean it up a little bit, and then we can start putting posts in the ground finally and start stretching fence. So this is a big day. I'm gonna run I'm gonna clean up this trail a little bit more, and then the last thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna run the excavator down this old path and knock the weeds and the brush down, making sure that I've got the new fence line established. So. Sometimes you just have to follow your nose and trust your gut. I wasn't sure how this was going to turn out. I wasn't sure where I was going to be able to cut over and tie things together, but this literally turned out perfect. Now, this doesn't mean it's not going to take a tremendous amount of work to get it finished, but for the first time in a long time, I feel like I can see a light at the end of the tunnel.
Undivided moves in circles, trapped like a wave in a tidal pool. Waves upon waves, the horizon in view, but out of reach. I've been saying that something needs to change. I've been saying that someday I'll change. froth and the brine rise up and touch my skin. I've been saying that something needs to change. I've been wallowing in my own skin.
We put all these posts in last year, probably October. Cheyenne and Christian, Rhett, we got the whole family together and they helped me put all these posts in. Yesterday I spent the day truing everything up, and I need to put in some cross bracing before we start stretching fence. So I'm gonna quickly put these braces in, get them screwed off, and set the final posts. And then if I have enough time, I'm gonna roll the wire out and see if I can't get this wire hung at least today. So this front fence is gonna be the easiest of the 3 fence lines by far. This one's also probably the shortest run of all of the fence lines, and I think this one is right around 700 feet, if I remember correctly. So anyway, this is step 1 in getting the deer pen fence stretched. So here we go. Well, we're on our way to 10 years here at Red Poppy Ranch, and I can tell you that after pushing up against whatever this thing is that I'm pushing up against, it finally feels like we're making a little headway with the deer pen. Now, deer are different than most animals. They can forage many different varieties of vegetation and actually thrive. Cows like grass, horses like grass. The deer are gonna absolutely love the mountainside deer pen. Because in general the deer pen is not straight and square, I've decided to put bracing about every 100 feet and especially in the corners. So again, this is the other side of our property where the deer pen will terminate, right here in this corner. There's going to be a couple of gates, and likely this is going to be the area where I will keep hay and feed the deer just as backup while they're foraging and grazing. Again, the more the deer do their thing up here on the side of the mountain, the better things you're going to get. But it's going to take a few years to get it figured out. got life jackets on there, buddy?
Yeah.
Oh, dude. Don't put the light jacket
They're underneath. From us here at Red Poppy Ranch, we wanted to say thank you. We hope you had a wonderful 4th of July, and we will see you soon.